What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Chess Giant. It's your boy Solomon Riddell, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the hippopotamus defense, our 80-second video on the chess opening system. So we've covered it quite a bit. Probably too much, but anyways, yeah, I've been pushing this video off for a while. I've been pushing this one off, okay? And yeah, it's been on my radar for a while, and that's because of y'all, right? You guys have told me about this chess opening video out there talking about how the hippo can pretty easily be demolished, and you've been asking my thoughts on it, how I would respond to this video, that kind of thing. I didn't push it off because I didn't have the answer. I've pushed it off because I don't want to be that guy that's always responding to this YouTuber and responding to that guy and saying this about that. You know what I mean? But that's not what I'm doing in this video, right? In fact, the video that was made by my guy, Emil Drug, and strong player, international master. I'm not an IM, right? Very strong international master player. When I go to his channel, he has a ton of chess opening theory content, and I know a lot of you guys like chess opening theory, so his channel might be a good channel to go check out as well, right? Because I've covered a lot of openings, he has as well. Even in this hippo video that he made on demolishing the hippo, do I agree with him that this is the refutation? No. But I do agree that this is going to be a refutation against a lot of hippo players because they don't know what they're doing. Okay. And that used to be me. I'm not sitting here telling y'all that I'm above this. Okay. In fact, just a couple years ago, I was getting wiped by this exact idea talked about in the video. Okay. But once I figured out what to do, now when I see this, I'm good, right? I can get a fighting chance, nearly dead even, if not dead even, or even better position for black with fighting chances. Okay. Let's first go over what is covered in this video, right? What is this refutation to the hippo? How is the hippo so easily demolished? And why do I not agree with this? How would I change black's move order to avoid this trouble? Now, in the video, he talks about it from the white perspective, right? We're going to be playing as the black perspective because I'm responding to his chess opening theory. Now, we have this move of e4, okay? As y'all know, I like this move of g6 and bishop g7, okay? Modern defense. And now against knight c3, he gives the move of b6 from the hippopotamus defense player. Again, a lot of hippo players will do this. They'll double-fianchetto their bishops, and there's times that this is okay. In fact, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you an example of a moment in which case double-fianchettoing is fine. I do it quite a bit, but you can only do it in certain moments, and we're going to talk about that. This is not one of those moments, okay? And we're going to go over why. But okay, all that to say, we see this move of b6. He mentions in the video as well that he's seen Hikaru Nakamura play double-fianchetto. That's true. First off, I don't agree with Hikaru's move order for the hippo much of the time. On top of that, yeah, it just depends on the situation, right? It depends on the situation. So we had this move of f4. Okay, this is what he recommends, 3-pawn center. Now, the 3-pawn center from f4 to d4 is honestly a lot scarier than e4 to c4, okay? This might be prepping c5. We're not that worried about that, right? It doesn't impact our king the way that an f5 push does, okay? Now, we have this move bishop b7 given in his video, knight f3. And now he's really trying to figure out where to put this light squared bishop, and it all depends on which one of these two pawns that we move. Okay, if we have this move of d6, he recommends bishop c4 to eye up that f7 pawn. Now, knight d7 here, it's not a very good move because of knight g5. Okay, and I've talked about this on the channel. The moment you see that bishop, lock it down. He covers this move, and he says that f5 here is much better for white. I agree. This position is horrible for black. Okay, and a lot of hippo players will run into this because they're not really paying attention to what white's doing. They're just kind of, fianchettoing their bishops to start. Maybe they're looking to tuck their knights next, and all of a sudden they're dealing with this pawn here that is really putting pressure on both of our light squared pawns on g6 and e6, but especially e6. I mean, double it up on this guy. This bishop is becoming more active, castling on the way. White is gaining space at a rapid rate, and if we take, white takes back. Right? Now, some of y'all might be wondering, wait, why don't we just take the pawn? We're up a pawn. That's true. We're up a pawn, but this position is terrible. Why? Because we have 3 isolated pawns, an isolated pawn on h7 and double isolated pawns on the f-file. This pawn is nearly indefendable as this game goes on, okay? White can play a move here like castling kingside. The rook's active. At some point, knight h4 is an idea to pick off this guy. This bishop is active. This bishop is looking right towards f7. We're behind in development. We only got 2 pieces developed. White, on the other hand, has 5. And yeah, I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section below if you faced this kind of position as a Hippo player before. There's no shame in it. I have, and I've lost brutally when I was first starting out with it. But yeah, I mean, this is just a really hard position to play. Okay, and the computer gives a big advantage to white, right? Now, going back to knight f3, d6, he has white play the move of bishop c4. Against e6, he goes, why would we play bishop c4? There's already a pawn there. Let's play bishop d3, right? Castle, and then play f5. Again, great position for white, right? This is tough, okay? And again, we have 3 attackers. White only has 2 defenders. So technically, we can win this pawn. We can keep taking and keep... Oh, wait, hold up. We have to take with the g-pawn. Terrible pawn structure yet again. A move like bishop g5 on the way. You know, queen e2 stuff maybe. Rook e1 check stuff. f5 is weak. Our king's in trouble. It's going to be hard to hang on in this game. So, let's say I understand what he is saying in this video. But let's cover now what we do when we see this kind of thing from white, right? Why is this, in my opinion, not a refutation? Well, it's because we tried to do a double fianchetto right at the start of the game in the wrong situation, okay? We go back to this move e4. I'm all for g6 and bishop g7. Fianchetto that first bishop. We're playing a modern defense right now. We see this move, nice e3. Now here, I do not recommend this move of b6. I really don't. Okay, this is bad. This is a bad move. The reason for that is that with this pawn on f2, not having a knight in front of it, this pawn is still free to roam. We don't know if white is going to try to play f4, f5, and we need our bishop here to help out. What do I recommend here? I recommend d6. I talk about this in my Hippopotamus defense course. I'll leave a link to that down below. I talk about this in a lot of videos. d6, and against f4, we have e6. Okay. Now, if you want to play f5 now, that's fine. We take, boom, our bishop captures back. Our pawn structure is completely fine. We're up a pawn. We feel good here as black, right? Going back, if we see a move like bishop d3, yet again, white is threatening f5 because of that bishop support, but we play knight e7. My biggest key, one of my biggest pointers that I can give you guys is don't count this pawn as a defender. You never want to play g takes f5 in this kind of position. Just don't do it. Don't even think about it. You need to have these 3 here. Okay, a common mistake I see is in a position like this, black playing knight d7, but then the bishop is cut off from f5. We need to be very intentional that all 3 of these cover f5, right? If a move like knight f3, now, you know, there's a couple moves that we could play. Castling kingside is one of them. I personally usually go with 1 with b6, 2 with castling, and 3 with c5. 1, 2, 3. Notice how this entire time we've had an eye on f5. In fact, going back just to move, right? Let's say white tries to play this move of f5. Well, in that case, we take. Both our bishop and our knight are ready to go, right? Bishop takes. We capture back with the knight. We're chilling. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, and for good reason, okay, how do we play a hippo, though, if we need all 3 of these to be looking at f5, right? How do we do this, okay? Well, the key is to not play knight d7 and not play bishop b7. This bishop is staying on c8 for the time being until this pawn moves or is capturing. Until f5 is not, you know, in the vicinity of this game anymore, this bishop is staying here, and this knight ain't going here. This knight is going to c6. What we have now is this move of c5 and knight c6. Okay, and I recently had someone online getting upset with me, calling this not the hippo. Part of me understands it because we're not in a full hippo setup, but we do have a pseudo hippo here, right? We have a hippo on the king side of the board, right? We do. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. And, you know, we have b6 in play. The only difference is that we have c5 and we brought our knight to c6. Notice what we're doing here. We're putting a ton of pressure on d4 while maintaining our eye, right? With this knight, this pawn, and this bishop all looking towards f5, right? We got 3 on f5 and we got 3 on d4. Okay. Now, if white wants to take, we'll capture back towards the center. we're good. And just remember that, okay? We're trying to get 3 pieces, putting pressure on their d4 pawn, and we're trying to get 3 pieces defending that f5 square. This is key, okay? You have to do this. The second you block the bishop or you move the bishop away, you're going to get toasted on the king side. Absolutely toasted on the king side, so don't do that. Now, we go back, okay? We have this move of bishop e3. I just want to put this on your radar, right? Knight c6 is a good move. d5 is also playable in a position like this, okay? Putting pressure on e4. Notice, if this pawn ever pushes or captures, all of a sudden f5 kind of loses its sting, right? Now, if you take here, we have d4, forking the bishop and the knight. If you take on d5, we take back, just like I just mentioned. We got 2 minor pieces on f5. This is really starting to lose its oomph because the pawn was distracted. And here, if you take on c5, we still have d4. We win a piece, right? We're good. So again, I'm going to go through that line one more time, okay? We play here. If you see knight f3, we're good to play a regular hippo, right? If you want to, you can double fianchetto. I still would, in this position, I would probably just, 1, 2, 3, and then, continue with your usual game plan. But if this pawn doesn't have anything in front of it, we have to be aware that this is a possibility. We have to keep this bishop here to IF5. That's just a simple truth. Now, again, c4, d4, e4, I don't really care. I'm still going to play a full hippo, but against this 3-pawn center, we do need to be more careful. Okay, in this case, d6, we play e6, not knight d7, but knight e7. Now we have our 3 defenders, 1, 2, 3. Now what do? We got to put 3 attackers on d4. What we're going to do, we're going to play 1, 2, and 3. Boom, boom, boom. We have pressure on that pawn. We're ready to capture back. Yeah, we're ready to play something crazy like d5. Black with a very solid game there, slightly better as I look at it for Stockfish, and slightly better for black as well, is this move of knight c6. Okay, we're good. Now, let's go back to the starting position real quick. I'm gonna show you an example in which case a double fianchetto is actually a good idea if you're trying to get the full thick-skinned hippo. Okay, as we just covered, that was not one of them. Okay, him doing this double fianchetto for black, a lot of players will do it, so he's 100% correct that this is a refutation against that kind of way of playing the hippo. But if you're playing the hippo correctly and you know what you're doing, you're not going to do that because you're worried about f4, f5. Okay, now here's a moment where double fianchettoing is a great idea. Let's say we see this move of knight f3. We go with our usual g6. Okay, by the way, some of you guys have been asking me if b6 is a solid move for the hippo. That's fine too. b6 is fine. Simon Williams likes it. I personally, I like g6 more because I'd rather have my king side developed than my queen side. I'd rather have potential issues with my queen side pieces developing a little bit slower than my king side. That's just me. And I do think that the modern gives us some great transpositional chess into other openings if we need to do it. Usually we don't, but if we do, it's there. But let's say we see g3. Now in this case, okay, usually what I would recommend against most setups is bishop g7 and then d6, right? 1, 2, 3. The issue here is if we go with a normal move order setup, right? We play h6, all this kind of stuff. At some point, we're going to have to move this pawn to b6, right? We're going to have to, okay? Unless you're trying to play d5. And then in that case, you're not really playing a hippo at that point. You're playing some weird version of it that is a little bit weak with that pawn on d5. It's a little bit overcommitted. The issue with b6 now, notice, we can't just play b6, bishop b7 real quick, right? We can only make one move. The second we play it, white does have the opportunity to move this knight wherever the heck they want. And our bishop is, well, not our bishop, their bishop is attacking our rook, okay? We save our rook, knight c6. I've had this happen to me before, okay? I've had this happen. And it's not the end of the world. I mean, in this case, we play bishop b7. We end up with a fianchettoed rook. We don't want a fianchettoed rook because a rook doesn't move diagonally. At the same time, white gave up their fianchettoed bishop. So, sure, is this rook ideal? No. Is this ideal for white? No. The computer gives it just about dead even. Okay, so we're fine here. If you're cool with that, you're cool with that. I personally, right, when I'm playing the hippo and I see this move of g3, I'm going, wait a second. This is my last chance to play b6. right? If I play bishop g7 here, boom, this bishop is pouncing at the bits to see this pawn move. If I play b6 now, right when they move that bishop, boom. And now if the knight moves, we take the bishop. We're good, right? We don't have a fianchettoed rook anymore, right? We don't have a fianchettoed bishop, but we don't have a fianchettoed rook. And their fianchettoed bishop is gone as well, okay? And in this case, I actually think it's a pretty good deal trading off our queen side bishop for their king side. Now, again, right, this is the one rare exception where I'm really big on double fianchettoing quickly. And there's other moments that you can do it, but I usually do it in a situation like this, right, where, okay, I play g6, right, they play g3, oh my gosh, I don't want them to fianchetto and me not even have moved this pawn yet. I go 1, 2 very quickly, I'm good. I keep playing my hippo, okay? I'll give you an example for white as well. Okay, let's say we're playing as white, we see g3, you know, maybe black here doesn't know what the heck we're doing, and they just go, you know what, I'm going to play a King's Indian defense kind of thing. Again, we don't want this bishop here with the eye on the rook without this pawn moving yet. Just fit that move in really quickly, play bishop b2, and now from here you can do the whole, you know, 1, 2, tuck the knights, you know, form your you know, full thick-skinned hippo with a3 and h3 and go from there. Okay, so let's say this video demolishing the hippo. Okay, it's going to work against a lot of hippo players. It's going to work. It worked against me. But once you know, once you're aware of this f4, f5 idea, you're not going to play knight d7. You're going to play knight e7. You're going to keep your bishop on c8, and you're going to pounce on white's center with c5 and knight c6. Okay, I have multiple videos covering this in a little bit more detail from a little bit of a more, you know, a different angle. I'll leave those links in the description below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Yeah, I appreciate you guys more than you know. I'll see y'all in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. I really quickly wanted to give a shout out to my Patreon community for the month of March in 2024. I appreciate y'all a ton. And yeah, if you guys are interested in joining the Patreon community, becoming part of that family, I highly recommend that you go check it out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.